and welcome to episode 4 of the WhotKnot podcast. My name is Kathy. I am a disabled maker. I live in Australia on the Sunshine Coast with my husband, and we have 3 dogs. So you met Buddy last episode, and I'm hoping he's not going to bark. He does love a bark. He's a little pom chihuahua. I think everybody knows they're barkers, but oh, there we go, just to prove it. But as you've met Buddy, I thought I would bring Ralph up this week so that you could meet Ralphio. He is our little terrier. We got him when he was 3 years old, and Ralphio, you're now 7, aren't you? And you're beautiful. And he's the quietest and generally the best behaved boy. Aren't you, Ralphio? Good boy. Okay, off you go. So that's Ralph. And maybe next time I will bring Rusty on. So I won't be having him on my lap though, because he's a bull Arab. He's a big boy. Alright, so I can be found on various social network sites, so they will all be linked down below: Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, etc. And yeah, so if you want to catch up with me there, I often post on Instagram what I'm up to, what I'm making, what I'm doing. And occasionally this past week I put on a video of some paintings, so check it out. So as I've said in the past, I like to start off with a thank you, and this week I am going to say thank you to Christine, who watched last episode, and we had a little bit of a back and forth chit chat, which I encourage all of you to leave a little bit of information about what you're up to, what you're doing, how you're coping, anything you'd like in the description messages down below, and we'll have a chat. But I did have a chat with Christine. I think she's got a really good attitude towards this, and I agree with her. Not that any of us want this to happen, and I'm talking about the virus, but you know what, I think for years life seems to go fast, and we all think, oh, we're going to slow down, we'll slow down one of these days. Well, here's our opportunity to slow down, to connect with people, to spend some quiet time. We don't always have to be doing something, or working on projects that you've had in mind for a while, taking up new projects. So I think good on you, Christine, great attitude. Let's all look at it as positively as we possibly can, whilst staying as safe as we possibly can. I know myself, I have not left the house in nearly 3 weeks now. Oh, I tell a lie, I did have a doctor's appointment, which was an essential appointment last Tuesday, and I literally straight in, straight back home. So that's that. Alright, let's get on to the crafty goodness. And I've got everything set up, so I might have to go off camera a little bit to grab things, but that's okay. So let's start off with a couple of finished objects, and I have got one that's a bit of a flop. Yep. Alright, but we'll start off on a positive note, and the positive news is that I have finished my Fay Sweater. I'm just gathering all my bits here. So it's been washed and blocked. I've sewn in all the thread at the ends, and I think I've cut off all the ends. So that's what it looks like. All finished. Hold on this side so it catches the light. Washed and blocked. Hold it up a bit closer so you can see the fabric of it. It's quite nice, the colours are beautiful. And as I've said in the past with this sweater, it's inevitable to have it, but I'm not 100% on board with that line down the back. I think you can see it there. I tried several different techniques through knitting the pattern to try and minimize the view of it, but as you can see, it's pretty obvious. I actually thought about maybe knitting a band down, picking up stitches and knitting a band, putting some buttons as if it had a button up back. But I think as I wear it and I'm sitting in the wheelchair, the buttons might give me a few problems, and for me no one will see that, so I'm not overly concerned. But if you knit it, just be aware that that's how it ends up, and you might like to knit the button band. But if anybody else has got any other ideas, I'm on board to hear those. And I had this much wool left over, and I've wound it up so it's not such a horrendous mess. This is Knit Picks Aloft in the colour Blush, and I actually had 2 full balls and a bit left over of the Gaza XL, and I love a good headband, so I'm thinking about knitting the headband in that, and then I can wear the top and be all matchy-matchy. So that's something that I might do in a couple of weeks. Alright, now let's go to a negative. I think I did mention it last week that I was knitting the Pinwheel purse by Frankie Brown. Well, I finished it, and it's pretty cute. I think we can agree it looks pretty cute. I've put a little piece of cardboard in the bottom of it to stabilise it. I had visions of using this to put stitch markers in my bag, but I don't think it's going to be that useful. I think a lot of things would fall out of it. It opens up like so, and you can see that I've put the bit of cardboard in the bottom there. Hoping that's focusing. And then when you let it go, because of the way you wash and block it, it folds back down. But I have to say, I can't see myself using that, and now I'm not sure what to do with it. First world problems. But I just knit that out of some scrap yarn. Yeah, so I won't go on about that. Alright, now as I said before, the other thing that I finished was a watercolour, which I put on my Instagram, so any of you that follow me on Instagram have seen this. But I thought I would talk a little bit more about the paper that I've used and the paints. So I hope that's in focus. So this is a watercolor block. I bought a few of these when I went to America a couple of years ago. These are expensive in Australia. I think I paid about $25 for this US, but in Australia these are really quite expensive. But I've got a few of them. This is what I like to paint on. That way I don't have to stick it down and stretch the paper, and it's a handy way of keeping everything nice. And if you want to have a go at watercolours, I thought I would drag out my 2 favourite palettes that I use on the regular and show them to you. So I like to use the Prisma Paints, and I've got a few of these palettes, but my 2 favourite ones are that I would recommend are Woodlands and Tropical. So these 2 palettes. I think the colours it's got a good range of colours for mixing and painting. The colour, this is messy because I use it all the time. I like it that it looks messy. I don't know, but that gold one does not come in this palette. That is one that I bought from the Etsy seller that I recommended last week. So that's got a good range of colours in it. And the Woodlands one has got, as the name would suggest, woodsy kind of colours. And let me just see, is that blue one part of it? Yes. Sorry, I just saw that blue one sitting up the top there, but I've put it there probably for some good reason or another, which I cannot think of at the moment. But it's got a good range of colours, and if you do a lot of outdoorsy painting scenes, I think that's a good one to have. But I like those, and I'll do a few more painting videos to put up on my channel at times. Alright, now the next finished object I've got, and I really enjoyed making this, and it's a little, well, I'm going to call it a yarn bowl. And I've got one of my skeins of yarn in there, which is in the shop at the moment as part of a 3-piece 8-ply kit, but I thought the colours went really nicely with the fabric. It's got a hard bottom, and I'll just take everything out of it, and real cushy inside there with the yellow fabric. Now, I was watching Instagram and this just popped up on my feed, and it was from kitchen_of_rose. She did a little tutorial on this on her channel. She used it to keep her toast in for breakfast, which is probably a good idea, but I just went straight to how can I use this with my knitting, and that was how. I will say that in the tutorial she did, she left this edge raw, and I wasn't mad keen on that, so I made a piece of bias which I thought I would sew on, but I couldn't get this thing under the sewing machine, so I thought, well, it's not going to be washed, so I risked hot gluing it. So that's just hot glued on, but I think that gives it a bit more structure. But I've used just a cotton fabric with autumn leaves because it's nearly autumn here, even though it's really quite warm here today. I'm schwitzing a bit. But yeah, so I was happy with that. Alright, moving on to whips. Just check that I covered everything there. The Fay Sweater was by September Knits. I'm just checking out my notebook. So that's part of my whips, so I'll show you my page for today because I've been going crazy with this stuff. I've got all my tags and things from people that I've bought stuff off there, and on this side I've got all my notes. I need to start thinking about leaving a bit more room for my notes because I get carried away with the decoration and then haven't got enough room to write my notes. Anyway, so that's my notebook, so I am loving that. And what have we got? The Lovebird Sweater. I've got a few things to say about this. So, I put this on 2 needles so I can show it to you. So this is how where I've got to so far. So I'm on the row before I divide for the sleeves. So this is about to be dividing for the sleeves. It's a tiny bit big for me. And under normal circumstances I would unpick it, but I'm not prepared to unpick that. So I've got a plan, and my plan is that after I've washed it and let it almost dry, I'm going to risk putting it in the dryer. Has anyone got anything to say about that? Any advice? Any tips? This is superwash yarn, so it's going to stretch even more when I wash and block it. And actually, let me see if I can do this. I'll show you. I'll pop it over my head. So, oh, now I've got hair in my eyeball. Anyway, as you can see, it's not bad. So I'm just about to divide for the underarms, but I'm thinking if this thing grows much, it's going to be a monster. But I think it looks beautiful. I really like it. I like how this yarn is knitting up. I will tell you that this yarn is quite bouncy. I don't know if you can see how much spring that's got on it. It's really bouncy. Let me put that in front of my face there. Let's have a go this way. Really bouncy yarn. So it's good. I'm finding it good for colour work because it kind of self-fills in the gaps. So from the colour work point of view, quite good. And I'll give you a gander at my floats. Floating all over the place here. Plenty of floats. Now I mentioned last week that I was going to try a new technique for carrying the yarn behind. And the only spot that I've done that is on the bird row here. And it's the only section that puckered a bit. So I found that I had to go back over it with another knitting needle and be pulling and straightening all the stitches. I did not like that technique and I won't be using it again anytime soon. I was tempted to unpick it. You can see a little bit of puckering just above the birds here, which follows down, but that's because that's a heavily increased row. So when I block that, that will flatten out. But these little birds, they are puckering. Now, I'm just going to tell myself that if it doesn't block out, that it just looks like they're little plump birds. And that's okay. I like a plump little bird. But I think it will block out. So, yeah, I didn't enjoy that technique. I didn't like it. It means you've got to knit extra stitches. If you watch the video, you pick stitches up and you've got to knit the extras. So I was not a big fan of it. I ended up on this bottom section here. There is a couple of sections where you have to carry for 8 stitches, I think, and I literally just carried the yarn at the back and found that it sat nicely, and I decided I would not be worried about the larger floats. But I think it's going to be pretty. The jumper itself, this jumper is by Kate Oates, and the body of it is it's knit in reverse with cables down it, or in the pattern there's the option to knit it plain. I am not adverse to knitting the cables, but I feel like with all this going on, that's too much. So I am just going, once I've divided for the sleeves, there's another row of hearts, so I'll do those, and then it's straight down to the body. So I've enjoyed doing this colour work, but I'm looking forward to some plain knitting. I'll tell you that for nothing. I would definitely knit another colour work sweater. Really, this is the, apart from my Soldotna, this is the first colour works sweater that I've knit. So trust me to go all in. But look, I think I'm going to be really happy with the finished product, and I would love to know what your thoughts are on putting that in the clothes dryer. I'm thinking, I can't reach our clothes dryer, so my husband will be doing it, so I'll have him standing there. We've talked about it, so his idea is he'll turn the dryer on, get it warm, we'll put this in for 5 minutes, get it out, check it. Put it in, 5 minutes, get it out, check it. So that's the plan, and we will see how it goes. So that's good. I've only got a little bit of that left, so I've had plenty to do all the colour work, and there's plenty there to do the last little section. And I'm on my second ball of this. They are both Malabrigo. This is Archangel in 5-ply, Archangel in 5-ply, and Pearl. So yeah, happy with that, very happy with that. And I'll just go and get my other whip. So this is my Northeasterly blanket by Skeinanigans. I'm really enjoying this, and I've pretty much finished the first striping sock yarn ball that I had. So I haven't measured the length of it, but it's a good length. It's pretty long. I've got this much to go. So I'm going to keep going with this until I've got 20 grams left, and then I'm going to save 20 grams to put in my bits and bobs blanket. So that's been good fun. This yarn knits up beautifully. This yarn is from Lovebird Yarn, and I bought it from her Etsy store quite some time ago, and I have got a few other balls to show you that I've bought from her recently. So that's my whips, and okay, so I was watching Little Big Knits, Selma. If you don't watch Little Big Knits, she's really great. She knits a lot. She knits some beautiful things, and I like her chitty chatty videos. But on her last episode, she had a segment at the very end where she was showing all the free patterns that she's got on her wish list. And after watching that, I kept pausing, adding various things to my wish list of what I would like to be knitting. So I am thinking about one of the ones she had. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this, but I'll give it a go. N-U-E. Let me just put my glasses on. E-N-N-U-I shawl. And so it takes 4 skeins of DK, and I thought I dyed some up quite some time ago and I liked them, so I've kept them. And I'll just grab one more ball, won't be a mini. And so I'm thinking about, now that I've cast off my Fay Sweater, that I might knit a shawl. And these are the skeins that I have picked out to knit it in. These are ones that I dyed up quite a while ago, and I think they look nice. And it required an extra ball, so of course I'm relying on my good old Bendigo wool mills, which I got an email from Bendigo wool mills, and everybody must be at home knitting because they said they had been inundated with orders. So good. So I don't know if anybody else wants to join in and knit that shawl, but I thought that could be a bit of fun. But that's what I've selected out. Some bright and cheerful colours, and this yarn is squishy and soft and yummy. So I'm going to have a crack at that. So if you do go over and have a look at Little Big Knits, let Selma know that I've sent you. Alright, now the other acquisition that I've made, well, I've got a few acquisitions, excuse me, I'll just grab them. But one in particular, oops, dropped one. Pick that bad boy up. So, I thought I had this on this item on my wish list on Etsy for a little while, and it came up that this lady was having a sale, and I don't know why. Let me just check. Nope, I have not written down her email address, her Etsy store, so I will link that in the show notes for sure. But I'm going to have a crack at some embroidery. I have done quite a bit of embroidery over the years, and I've got many pieces hanging in my house, and my mum has many pieces and my daughter has many pieces, mainly cross stitch. But I thought I had this on my wish list. As I said, it came up on a sale, and I thought that might be nice, something a little bit different, and it's a full kit. So it's called Our Forest Embroidery. I don't know if the instructions are in English, but I don't mind, I can follow the chart. Look at these little cutie pies. Look at these tiny little baby skeins of thread, and she's got them all packaged up, and the kit comes with the cards to put them all on. So you can wind them all up onto their appropriate cards so that you've got them all sorted. Now this is the chart, so I won't show you the chart, obviously paid for, but look at the back of it. How delightful is that? Look at the colours in that, so nice. Actually, quite similar. Quite similar colours. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go at that. It also came with the fabric. So I haven't opened any of this. I was saving it to show you first. And it also came, and as I said, I've done a lot of embroidery in the past, but this is a new thing that I haven't used before. I'll just take it out of the little bag so that it hasn't got too much glare on it. Oh, magnet is sticking to my scissors. These needle minders, and it's got a needle in it as well. I don't know, am I holding that up the right way? No, of course not. Little mushrooms. Bit of glare there. How's that? How's that for you? That's better. So a needle minder. I've never used one of these before, but I am about it. So I'm gonna, this weekend, I'm gonna wind these up, and I'm feeling really excited to start this. Do any of you do embroidery? Let me know. As I said, I've done a lot of cross stitch in particular in the past, and maybe next week I'll show you a couple of the cross stitches that I've done in the past. I've done quite big ones, quite intricate ones, so I will grab a couple of them off the wall and show you in the next podcast. Now, I mean, we all know that buying this came from overseas, and these items do not like to travel alone. I mean, we all know that. Nobody likes to travel alone. So I had to buy something else. You know. And I was interested because I have had this sitting here ready to show you, and not that I want to go on about Little Big Knits, but she mentioned a jumper or sweater that she's knit with a combination of a silk and nettle yarn, and I had bought this yarn. Make sure I've got it up the right way to show you. This is in the colour Azalea. How pretty. How pretty. But this is nettle yarn. I don't know if you can see the halo on that. And I looked up for a little bit of information about the nettle yarn, and it's very environmentally friendly. It's supposed to be very cool to wear. It leaves less of a footprint than cotton when it is being manufactured. So it does have the same properties of, this is very fine. I would say this is a 2-ply, maybe, yeah, 2-ply. But it has no bounce to it. It's very solid yarn, but it feels really soft. So I had a look through her stall, and she also had these. Now this was really affordable as well, so not a bad price. I've picked up this big boy as well. There we go. I'm not even going to attempt to read that. I'm pretty sure that's in another language, but it's 100% wool. I don't know if you can see the colour on that, but it's got some real depth of colour, different shades of brown happening there. Really nice. So my plan is, hold them together. Yes. What do you think? What do you guys think? I'm thinking beautiful. So what am I going to knit with it? I'm going to knit another ranunculus. I have knit one ranunculus, and I knit that out of, I wanted to show that you don't need to spend a lot of money on a nice jumper. You can knit something beautiful with something cheap. And I knit my ranunculus out of this, and the whole thing cost me about $9 Australian. This wool is, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but this is how we go when we're just having a chat, don't we? This is acrylic and cotton, 78% acrylic, 22% cotton, and it's a really soft, it's cool to wear. I actually wear that jumper, it's a short sleeve, I made it short sleeve, more than any of the other things that I've knit. So it really goes to show that you don't need to spend a lot of money to have a nice jumper, which actually goes along with, I was watching Cia's podcast. I absolutely love her podcast. She's so enthusiastic about her knitting and anything that she does. But she just finished knitting a red Love Notes sweater, and she got the yarn for free. She'd had it in her stash for like 10 years, and she said that when she put that on Instagram, she got the most likes on anything she's ever put up. And she's knit some pretty fancy sweaters, let me tell you. But yeah, this is really nice wool, and I've got heaps of it left over. So I'll have to maybe knit something else with that at some stage. So yeah, so that's on my horizon. So between that shawl, the embroidery, and another ranunculus, I will be busy, busy, busy. All right, just having a look. All right, so the self-striping sock yarn that I've picked up in the last couple of weeks to put towards my blanket are these three. I'll just grab them. And these are by, I think I was saying Lowly Yarns. Anyway, when my husband watched the podcast, he said to me, I think it's Lowly Yarns. And I actually went on and had a bit more of an in-depth look on her Instagram. And it's actually two sisters that dye these self-striping yarns. And her name is Louise, so it is Lowly Yarns. I think there's a parcel delivery coming in. Buddy's letting us all know, so I hope that's not too distracting. But these are the colours that I've bought from her to put towards my self-striping blanket, I'm going to call it, the Northeasterly. So this is one that she'd done, and her inspiration photo was hydrangeas. And it comes, there's her little tag. So cute, with a few little stitch markers. So I bought 3 of these. So I got that one, this one, with all the nice colours, and then I thought I'll go for a nice soft one. So I bought this little pretty little one with all the striping. And I'm thinking, and I've caked up my cream yarn ready for my cream stripe, and this is just some, I was going to use the Bendigo wool mills, but then I realised I have got, this is my yarn that I dye, but it's undyed, and I thought I'll just, it smells nice, I'll just use that. And what I'm thinking with my blanket is, this one to me is kind of a coolish colour. So the next one, and this is the one I showed you last week, I'm going to do warm, like the cream stripe, and then a warm colour, and then I'll do a cream stripe and another cool colour. So Not that I'm planning it out too much, but just to have a little bit of continuity to it. So they were the pretties that I got there. Now, as you all know, I like to give an Etsy seller a shout out that hasn't got many sales, and she's given it a red hot go. So this week I am going to give Carol a shout out, and she is Girls Sparkle and Bling, and she's Girls Sparkle and Bling on Instagram as well, and she's got herself a nice little Etsy store with quite a few things in it, and I bought a few things to show you, and I'm actually, not that you can see, I'm actually wearing one of them at the moment, so hopefully that's in focus. But she makes these beautiful resin earrings, quite affordable. So I bought 4 pairs because they're like literally between $5 and $15. So I bought those 2 plus the ones I'm wearing. I like these ones with the sparklies in. I often wear my hair up, and I like a statement earring. I often wear my hair up with a headband because if your hair's dirty, a headband and some sparkly earrings hide a multitude of sins, and I'm about that. And these ones weren't on a card because they're round, but these are a lovely teal, come on now, with a rose gold in them. I'm hoping my son's very creative actually, and he does a lot of photography work for people who restore and do up cars and tattooists and things like that, and he has critiqued positively my videos. He was horrified that I had put a video up that was blurry, episode 2. Don't worry about going to watch it. And he told me on my last podcast, I was pushing things too far into the lens and I need to pull them back a little bit. So I am being conscious of trying to do that to get the best possible image. So those ones. And she put in these ones for free, and I thought I will probably just stick them in. Somebody that places an order, I will stick them in theirs because I don't really wear stud earrings too much. The back of the stud is a little bit fiddly for me to negotiate. But they were beautifully packaged, and she sent a nice card that said thank you for supporting her venture, and that she hoped I liked the earrings, and I do, thanks Carol. And I'll just show you her card is this one here, that one there. So, you know, I know we're all in a bit of a tricky situation now, but it's nice to have the opportunity to support some of the Etsy sellers. So if you're inclined to enjoy these kinds of earrings at an affordable price, check her out. Check her out. Alright, now the last thing that I have purchased is my Erstwilder brooches. They had an update for Easter, and I picked up 3 of the brooches. So I'll show you which ones I got. Excuse me, just reaching across there. I got the one I'm wearing, which is called Chocolate the Chipmunk. And I bought this one because when my husband and I went to America, we were desperate to see chipmunks. And we asked everybody, and they sent us to various parks, and we went to the parks to see the chipmunks. We never saw a chipmunk, so I bought that one. And I got Wilbur the Wonder Pig. How cute. I am a child of the 70s, and we grew up on Charlotte's Web. We saw it at the movies, we read the books. I loved it. So I had to get Wilbur. And the other one that I got, which I just thought the colours in it were so pretty, and this is the Baby Bloomer Easter egg. And I will say that I did not get this off the Erstwilder website. I wasn't quick enough. I got it off a different website, and I will put her link in the show notes. But if you're quick, you can get them off Erstwilder. Some sell quicker than others, but yep, so I got those. Alright, let me just have a look and make sure I've covered everything. In my shop news, I have put a few things in the shop, but I am only keeping the shop open as long as my husband is working, because I am not prepared to go out to do the posting. So he's prepared to do it while he's still working, but if and when we go on to full shutdown, I will be shutting the store down then, so I won't be having to go out and he won't be having to go out to the post office. So there's that. But I think that's pretty much everything. I'm just having a quick look around. I did get a couple of books that I was going to show you, but I might show them to you next time. Hopefully I will have started on my embroidery, and I will have a bit of that to show you. I'm excited about that, so yeah. But I hope that you're all doing really well. I hope that you're staying as positive as you possibly can. I hope that you are spending your time enjoying what you're doing. I am trying to. I had a bit of a negative couple of days there where I started to feel a bit doomy and gloomy, but look, chatting with people, I've had a couple of people contact me on my Etsy store, and we've had a little bit of a chat back and forth there. I've had a custom order, my first custom order, so I'm working on that, so I'll talk a bit more about that next week. But I was going to say, if any of you, I'm not going to put these in the shop because they're a little bulky to store whilst I'm waiting for them to sell. So I am happy to make you one. If you would like one of these, just contact me, either Instagram, Etsy, or here. But yep, I think that's about it. I am staying home and staying safe, and I hope you are too. So leave me a message in the down box and we'll have a chat. Let me know what you're making, let me know what you're casting on, and yeah, just let me know your thoughts. Alright, thanks everybody, see you next time. Bye!